Good morning, good morning. It is Monday, February 4th, 2019. You're listening to Radio Free Radford.com. I am Dustin Staples, your weather commissioner, your announcer, daily news headline man that's here to keep you informed of all things Radford University and all so forth be it. While you're at it, if you're listening for the first time this morning, we appreciate your support and your views. You can head over to Facebook and like us on Radio Free Radford, as well as on Instagram. Follow us on there. And on Twitter at Radio Free Raddy. That is Radio Free Raddy, Raddy. Hope you had a wonderful weekend. It was nice out there, and I hope you had a chance to get out there and enjoy the beautiful spring-like weather. It's not spring according to the calendar. It's feeling more like it's supposed to be winter. But of course, on Saturday was a well-known holiday that some folks enjoy and celebrating, known as Groundhog Day. So spring lovers, you kind of made your command and wishing, put in kind of like drawing in a hat, and 6 out of 10 chances that you got an early spring. And we'll talk about why the groundhog is never accurate and why people kind of sometimes overestimate the day that is. 63 to sunshine today with the winds light and variable, beautiful sunshine taking part this morning. It was a little cool, started out in the 30s, but we're going to quickly warm it to the 60s. It's starting to warm up out here. We should be in the 40s by, out of the 40s, I should say, by noontime. You're approaching 60, mid-60s by the mid to late afternoon hour. So if you have class out there, maybe you want to go out and eat lunch outside and about. Maybe go across the street over to maybe Moe's or Subway or 7-Eleven, grab you a bite to eat and sit out there on the open patio. It would be wonderful to do so right there, as temperatures will be very, very mild as we head towards this afternoon and pretty much this week. Of course, we do have a few scattered rain showers moving back in the forecast this week. And again, nothing to fret about, but it's going to be getting colder at some point because there's always a end at somewhere with this weather fluctuating from up, down, up, down, up, down. Of course, we talked about the cold air last week that approached the area. Of course, parts of Australia and the southern hemisphere, it is summer for them. Of course, we found it over the weekend. It got up to 121 degrees down there. Was the record-setting one sometime last week. Broke the hottest ever there in Australia. And temperatures there are still in the lower triple digits to the mid-90s for forecast highs. So obviously some extremely hot temperatures further south, or the southern hemisphere, I should say, because it is winter. It's summer there while it is winter here. Of course, we'll be heading into spring, and we'll be heading into fall down that way, or down under, as they say there in Australia, and so forth be it. All right, we'll talk about Groundhog Day. Obviously, it was Saturday. The groundhog did see a shadow, and did not see shadow, I should say. He did not see the shadow, and he indicated an early spring. Well, I'm going to give him credit on this one. He's going to get this week right. Next week, I don't see any spring-like temperatures move back in our area. Consider this more like winter or normal, we should be for the month of February. And so pretty much he is 60% wrong a lot of times, so he's 40% right. So there you go, you got your differences, 40-60 there. Put those two together and you get 100%. And so again, 60% of the time he is never correct, and out of those times I can actually pull up a tweet that I found over the weekend that the meteorologist on the Weather Channel put out. If I can pull it up for you for sure. And it was pretty interesting to see how accurate this, he's just, people call him a rodent or an animal, and but he's out there and he gives his own predictions. And of course, every state has their own type of different animal or something, but most of them use the groundhog. So again, some states said that he didn't see shadow and predicted an early spring. Others said that he did see shadow in 6 more weeks of winter. Vice versa, either way. 6 more weeks of winter is still implemented between this point. And it's going to give you the halfway mark. We're almost there to spring. So basically, he's predicted an early spring 18 times, and 10 out of those times there was no record recorded. And more than 104 times more winters he saw his shadow, indicating a greater chance of what's the name of the groundhog? Punxsutawney Field there since 1887. So obviously, I think they've been using different groundhogs. I don't think a groundhog has lived more than 200 years old, but I mean, I don't know. There possibly could be, but kind of give you a reflection about last year. He predicted a shadow, and he did not get it right. A year before that, same story, and he was not accurate. But we got to go back to pretty much, it looks like 2014 is when he nailed it perfectly for this area. He predicted a shadow, and he was right. And so you got the 6 more weeks of winter for sure. Of course, if you recall from last couple of Februarys, that this has been abnormally warm with little any precipitation. And so both years, I'm trying to see if they can find one with both inaccurate results. I don't see one on here, but looks like 2014 was the year he nailed it right both times. How about that? And of course, this year he's predicted an early spring, and he didn't see a shadow. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say this may not hold true. So that's my prediction for the Punxsutawney Phil. Alrighty, moving on ahead now to the Super Bowl. I hope you watched it. I know many folks, as our manager, Tristan Blake Rhines, is our general manager of Radio Free Radford, is all in his gear. I saw him coming in this morning. He had a very happy smile on his face. Last night, predicted. Of course, my prediction was way off. I said 2025. That was not even close enough to the score. It ended up being 13-3. Patriots winning, taking another W for the 6th time in a row. Of course, this is the 6 years. Not back-to-back, but this is the 6th ring the Patriots have won. Of course, they played the Los Angeles Rams. They did manage to get on the board up to 3 points. That was about, I think after the second half of it was the second half of the game, the second quarter, they kind of tied in, and then after that, it was remaining a tie. Patriots said otherwise. Let's break this tie and take another victory lap, and they have done it again. This is the second, believe it or not, the second time in U.S. history the score has remained the lowest ever recorded. Of course, if you have to recall back to 1973 or 74 when the Miami Dolphins, this is when they were good now, about 40-some years ago, they made the lead against the Washington Redskins of a score, I think it was 14-3, and let me make sure that's right, because I don't want to say something that's inaccurate. But Miami Dolphins, I don't know how long ago it's been since they've been that well, and especially the Washington Redskins. So we'll see what Super Bowl lowest score history. I want to say it was. Let's see here. Excuse me about that. 14-7, I should say. Let's see. The Dolphins and the Redskins played out, and so the game has been where the least Super Bowl. Let's see. The game 16 total points scored between the Patriots and the Rams were at least the sixth. Were the least in Super Bowl history. The previous record was 21 points scored by the Dolphins and Redskins in Miami's 14-7 win over Super Bowl 5. So that kind of or maybe that is right. 12-5. I think it's 5. Yeah. So how about that, folks? A little bit. Interesting fact about the Super Bowl, one of the lowest scoring games ever recorded history. Now, if that would have remained the same, of keeping those records, if it would have been 3-0, then that would have probably topped the number one lowest record game on recorded statistics history. Anyway, again, I don't do sports. That's why Tristan Blake Rhines has this show on the Rhines Report now moved to a different time on Fridays from 11 to 12. So right after me every Friday, he comes in here and talks about a lot of the NFL and incorporates a lot of sports history. Also, Blake Holmes and Isaiah Adair do Hot Takes with Holmes. Pretty much they talk about that. We also have Pettit's Puck Talk that airs today at 5 here on Radio Free Radford. So we've got 3 different sports folks. Of course, we have a couple of more on here that are showcased about every day. So depending on what show you're listening to, this is the morning weather show along with some news headlines I try to incorporate every so often. I will have guests on, like tomorrow we have one of the fraternity organizations, forgive me, I don't know the name of it, but he will be coming on. He is the leader. On Wednesday, we'll have Isaiah Adair. Of course, I think he mentioned back in December when he was on, he is part of Chi Alpha, and he's going to be coming on to talk a little bit some things they're working on for you, and that's going to wrap guests up for the week unless something else changes before the Thursday time frame. And then next week, we have another fraternity leader coming in here to talk with us about his organization, and forgive me, I don't know the name of it, but it's interesting to see a lot of these organizations coming out, and of course they're very happy to get the word out, obviously. anyway, that will make 4 guests so far this semester. Actually, 2 last week and 2 this week. Maybe we can kind of keep a consistency of 2 and 2. I wouldn't mind that either. So anyway, we're at like I think I said last semester, I had about 35, 40 guests. Some were every day, if you recall. It was week. It was I would be solo, then it would be a guest, then it was a solo, then maybe a guest at the end of the week, depending on what was going on. So anyway, kind of interesting to see there. Also, here in February, it's also Black History Month. So all month long, Radford University is going to be doing a little bit of something in honor of Black History Month in February. Tends to be that. We're waiting on a website here I found on this morning, and giving a little bit of interesting facts of about Black History Month. It's today. Jefferson Franklin Long. He was honored. He was in the something. Was very famous for something that he did. Passed away in the 1800s or so. Also, civil rights movement timeline took place on the start of this day from 1951 to 1959. And also, another fact of the day is the University of Alabama. Its first black student was admitted. Atherna Lucy became the first African-American student to attend the University of Alabama. She was expelled for 3 days later for her own safety in response to a threat in a mob in 1932. Something else that's kind of interesting with this, it's 1992, excuse me, I should say, that she then graduated from the University of Alabama with a master's degree in education the same day her daughters. Grace Foster also graduated with a bachelor's degree there at the University of Alabama. So every day we're going to be giving you a history fact about Black History Month, because it's very important for sure. And also on this day, we're continuing our national days as well. Besides Super Bowl day yesterday, it's also National Thank a Mail Carrier Day. Speaking of which, I actually need to mail a letter out today, so I need to get taken on that. Thank him for that. It's also National Hem Day, so of course, all people say, I need to get my pants hemmed or whatever. So what exactly is that, and what does it actually mean? Well, this is an industry with a long innovation, and of course, this has been part of human civilization. Get this, for thousands of years. The hemp fibers were used in some of the early civilizations to make fabric for their clothing, so like you have on today, and other materials. America's founding father drafted an early document on hemp papers and even used a hemp for victory during World War II to encourage farmers to grow hemp for military use. So, of course, obviously the military people had those uniforms on, and they need to get that cotton and with it. So, most recently, the construction industry started using in place of the concrete known as the hempcrete, since it is windproof and offers a lower carbon footprint. So, there you go. You got your clothing from that, especially a lot of jeans and especially dress pants too. People like to hem those down. This industry hemp pilot program allowed several students to grow this, developed later on, and to cultivate it and process hemp for agriculture purposes, so your cotton coming out of those industries. This is also let's see, what else? Interesting fact right here, these programs brought thousands of new jobs in industry that had long been considered obsolete because of Schedule of 1 classification of hemp. Get this, is the same classification as heroin and LSD. How about that? And last year, Farm Bill was a huge win for this industry, including the leaves, stalk, and the stem, since it has been rescheduled to a Schedule V classification, the same as an OTC low-dose codeine, and this makes the producing and distribution of legal on a national level. Products made from hemp, such as CBD, clothing, plastic, paint, insulation, as will be more readily available. And the passing of the new minted Farm Bill brings massive growth potential for some publications, estimating that hemp industries will become a multi-billion-dollar industry here in the United States. So there you go. That's your history, along with a little bit of Civil War and World War to investigation. It's also a National Creative Vacuum Day, so maybe your vacuum is out of stock and you need to get that fixed. And maybe you say, well, I ought to be the engineer today and fix it, so you can do so as well. Excuse me. Alrighty, so in today is National Eat Ice Cream for Breakfast Day. I don't know, I like ice cream, but not first thing in the morning. I do know folks that want to get a thing of cookie dough ice cream or whatever, mint chocolate chip, butter pecan, vanilla bean, whatever you like, chocolate chip, whatever it may be. There's millions, thousands of them. This is also invented in New York, so there you go, in the middle of winter. How about that? Created in the 1960s, this day is further proof that you can eat ice cream any time of the year, any time of the day, and on occasion, like this morning for breakfast. So on the first Saturday in February, go ahead and treat on before noon. They won't judge you, as they say. So maybe if you want to make some ice cream, you can. There is a one of them you can pretty much do from your home without buying a container. This is about 10 minutes. I'm not going over all of the step by step, but they say if you get a pinto bean, 1 pint of Ben & Jerry's Chunky Monkey ice cream, 2 tablespoons of sliced almonds, 2 frozen toaster waffles. Hey, that's right up my alley there. A banana, a half a cup of brown sugar, unsalted butter, and chocolate syrup. Alright, there's your eat ice cream for breakfast day. If you're getting up and listening to us, fix your bowl of ice cream. I mean, there you go. It's been designated to do so. Today's quote of the day is by Mario Cuomo, quoting that, "I watch small man with thick callus on both hands work 15 to 16 hours a day, who taught me all I needed to know about faith and hard work by the most simple eloquence of his examples." We got some great hits coming for you here on Radio Free Radford. Boy, what a Monday, I tell you. We got some beautiful sunshine today, some warmer weather heading our way. Spring-like conditions. Unfortunately, next weekend is a different story. Some colder weather is moving back in, and all good things must come to an end, as they say. Later on, about 40 minutes or so, we'll have Terrence Schofield. His show's on from 11 to 12. You can check him here on Radio Free Radford. Also today, if I can find our schedule, we have, Zach Pettit is later on this afternoon from 5 to 6 and so forth be it. So I'll go along with and take what we get here, and we'll see what the rest of the winter holds for. Of course, it could be getting very active once toward the middle of this month, and March is one of those predictable months. Will it come in like a lion or a lamb, or will it go out like a lion or a lamb, vice versa? So we'll see what's in the making, and I'm just the announcer guy that gives you weather and a lot of your top news stories and occasional guest here first thing in the morning as you're getting your day started here on RadioFreeRadford.com. Be sure to follow RU Weather 1 on Instagram and Twitter with the latest weather happenings around campus and several news insights that they're tweeted, and also RAD _. I told you that was 1_, so it's RAD, RAD capital, __ news, NESW capital. You can catch the latest on there for more news happenings, and obviously Radio Free Raddy on Twitter, Radio Free Radford on Instagram and Facebook. Follow, like us, tweet us at us. We'll be more than happy to get anything you want. If your show interested in coming on a guest, not only my show, but other shows we have here every day and different timings as well. Hope you have a wonderful Monday, folks. It's just getting started the work week. We promise you some warm weather is in the making.